Hello everyone, and welcome to the Commexis Cast Daily, all the news you need to know from our inbox to yours. I'm Matthew McGordy, the videographer and podcaster here at Commexis, and today I'm joined by the Commexis SEO project manager, Amy Leach.
Hello.
So our story for today, Google yesterday has announced basically their next update, which is the speed update, or what they're dubbing it to be the speed update, which is designed to make site speed a measurement in mobile search rankings. So one of the things that they mentioned on their blog post was a couple studies that they had done through Thinking with Google that had some really interesting statistics. So for 70% of the 900,000 mobile ad landing pages they analyzed, it took nearly 7 seconds for the visual content above the fold to display on the screen, and it took more than 10 seconds to fully load all visual content above and below the fold. So not an insignificant amount of time, I would say.
No, not at all.
So one of the statements they have from their blog post, quote, "This will only affect pages that deliver the slowest experience to users and will only affect a small percentage of queries. It applies the same standard to all pages regardless of the technology used to build the page, and the intent of this query is still very strong signal, so a slow page may still rank highly if it has great relevant content." So Amy, how big of a change really is this to the landscape of search?
I mean, well, the first thing to understand is that it is truly a mobile-first initiative. It's only affecting mobile. The site speed issue has already been, they've been dealing with that on desktop for years.
Yeah, since 2010.
Since 2010, yeah. So since 2010, they've been looking at your site speed as a factor on desktop. This is only new to mobile. Obviously, it's something very concerning. If you have a very slow mobile site, then you should definitely be concerned about this and doing something about it as soon as you can. However, if your site's fairly fast, it's probably not going to affect you too much. It could even affect you very positively if some of your competitors are slow.
Yeah. One thing that I think is important that they mentioned in both their piece and in other pieces that have been sort of analyzing what this update means is that, yes, of course, page speed is really important, but it is not the only factor that goes into your rankings. So if you have great content, you're going to be able to potentially rank higher. But that said, that's not, going to necessarily push you way above if your site, is abandoned.
No, I mean, Google's algorithm looks at a whole bunch of factors when it's looking at ranking websites. So where this is most likely going to affect you most is if you're in very, very close competition with some of your competitors on Google search, then I think you're a little more likely to see fluctuation. But if you have really strong content and people really respond well to it, and Google sees that they're willing to wait for your site to load because the content on it is just so strong, that doesn't necessarily mean it's going to affect you that negatively.
Yeah. And what do you think that this means for our clients, going forward in terms of mobile, obviously, not just for desktop?
The statistics are out there at this point that more people are searching on mobile than desktop. It's a fairly recent trend, but it's just kind of the way to look at it in the future. Most likely, people are more likely going to find you through a mobile device than they are through a desktop. Tablets also being considered in mobile devices. That's a big part of that. But people like to search on their phone. I think people have gotten savvy enough to realize that you can click phone numbers on your phone and call a small business right away. So it certainly is... it's a major factor. So you definitely want your mobile site speed to be in good shape. You want to make sure people can find you there because your rankings can differ between mobile and desktop. So I think the main thing to look at it as is it's a ranking factor. It's something that you have some control over, so you might as well get your site up to speed as best as you can, obviously without trying to sacrifice content. It's just one more thing to have lined up to ensure that you have the best chance of ranking as high as you possibly can.
Yeah, and some people would say that Google is being, and I'm going to put this in quotes, quote unquote, mean. What do you think about that?
Google is always trying to look at the user experience first. So it's very easy as a business owner or somebody who's got a vested interest in a business to go, why are they doing this to me? This is so frustrating.
Google's done it again.
Yeah, they're trying to knock me down. But you have to remember, Google is pulling a lot of their data. They are watching how people search. So a lot of times when they're making an update, it's truly based on what they're seeing in people's searches. So just think about it for a second. We're talking about 7 seconds to load a page. If you actually think about how long 7 seconds is, it doesn't sound like a lot, but I bet you'd be really annoyed waiting 7 seconds for a page to load.
Yeah, I mean, one of the things I always think about as the videographer is, video times on social media sites and stuff like that, and they talk about how people will only stay on, say, a video on Facebook for anywhere from, 3 to 6 seconds.
Yeah.
So if your page is taking 7 seconds to load, you're getting dropped.
Right, so you're always going to run the risk with a slow website of people just getting bored and moving on to the next site if your site's not loading for them quick enough.
The thinking with Google study I mentioned earlier, they said that the average time it takes to fully load a mobile landing page is 22 seconds, which is a lot, according to their analysis. Yet 53% of visitors, so half, are abandoned if a mobile site takes longer than 3 seconds to load.
Yeah.
So you have 3 seconds to really, make sure that your page is loaded or mostly loaded at that point before somebody will or will not abandon it.
And 3 seconds is the ideal time. It is a very difficult threshold to meet.
Of course.
For most websites. Most of them, if you can get it in the 3 to 6 range, is kind of the ideal place to be. My understanding is anything above 8 seconds is most likely to get hit hardest. So these are things that certainly we're considering with our websites, trying to make sure that they're as fast as they can possibly be. If we need to discuss content or something that might be slowing a page down, to discuss that or discuss how maybe we can change it from mobile to desktop.
Yeah. And just a final note, at the end of the day, we're talking a lot about numbers and stuff like that, but when we talk about drop-offs, we're talking about, the user experience. How easy is it for somebody to, get to your page and get what they're looking for, and how fast is it to load? And when we talk about, the buyer's journey and stuff like that, being able to get to your site quickly and relatively quickly enough and get to the content that they're looking for is really important. So really just keep that in mind when we're talking about these page speeds and all of these numbers, that at the end of the day, if your user can't, your potential customer can't get to your site fast enough, or your site just isn't loading or something like that, then you're gonna have problems at the end of the day, because it's not just one customer abandoning.
You do have to see it from Google's standpoint, which is if your site's slow and people just keep dropping off of it, why do they want you at the top of the pack? Because you're probably starting to, your site might be annoying a few people. So that's truly Google's perspective here. Another important thing we do have to mention is that this update does not go through until July of this year.
July 2018, you got time.
July 2018. So you have time to talk to your digital marketing firm, to look at your website site speed, to look at your mobile speed very specifically, and to discuss options. There are a lot of options through mobile sites and different things you can do. There are AMP pages, which are bare bones content pages, but they load super fast. So there are people that are even building small AMP page-based mobile sites that load super fast and will do their job.
And that's relevant, just really quick, because all of the sites are being judged based on the same criteria.
Yeah, so it doesn't have to be.
They're not taking it's an AMP site, so we know it loads faster. They're just saying this is how it is.
They are looking at sites, they are looking at speed specifically. So an AMP page might be an option for you to get a faster site if you just can't get your mobile site up to speed enough. But it's not necessarily the be-all and end-all, this is your best option. You should just look at your site, see how it's doing, and then look at your best options from there. It's kind of on an individual basis.
And there's tons of tools that you can look at that we are looking at for our clients. For example, Chrome User Experience Report, Lighthouse, Page Speed Insights. Chrome User Report we actually talked about the other day on the Commexis Cast, because they're also going to be beginning to use actual data from Chrome users. But if you want a wider spread of data, there are other tools, and we'll of course be looking at them for our clients' websites as well. So moral of the story, get that page speed up. User experience is really important, and July 2018 is really the date that you got to hit.
That's right. You got several months to do something about it, and that's partly why Google, I think, is giving people time. They know there's people with good businesses and good websites that could be negatively affected. So this is our fair warning to do something about it and make sure that everybody's in good shape so they have the best chance to rank.
There you go. Well, thank you everybody for tuning in to today's episode of Commexis Cast Daily. Check us out tomorrow for more of the latest trending news. Have a great day.